name is Naomi, and I am a graduating senior of the 2023 class, but I am graduating early this year with over 90 credits, 90 community college credits that will all transfer to my chosen university that I have already been admitted and accepted to. So, gonna kind of tell you about how that came about to be and my story. Okay, Editor Naomi here on the laptop computer. Sorry for the pixelation. I just want to pop in, give a quick disclaimer that this is just my experience. Everyone's is going to be a little bit different. This is my experience with high school and Logos and RCC and figuring all of that stuff out. I definitely have not done it all perfectly, but I survived, so yeah, now we can get into the video. So, a bit of background on how this is all even possible. The school that I go through is a K through 12 charter school, and so I've been there the whole time. And the way that it's set up is it's so that it's kind of like a homeschooling supplement kind of thing, so that students can work at their own pace and kind of be where they need to be and take the classes that fit right for them, as well as sometimes create completely new classes on their own. I was able to take my language credits for Japanese while I was in middle school with kind of a portfolio method. So there's lots of different opportunities. I'm personally very grateful that my family chose to go with Logos back when they were pretty small. They've definitely grown over the years and grown in having people know about it, but it's a great program if you are in the area. So, starting in the kind of relevant area of my schooling, in 6th grade, I started with just beginning of Algebra 1. My family skipped pre-algebra because we just felt like it made more sense to go straight into Algebra 1. I took a pre-algebra test and just passed it already. So I jumped straight into Algebra 1 going into middle school, and then I took a science class, and I believe I took a history. I took a history class 7th grade. And then 8th grade, I took more science and history. I also took English and a, what was that class? Oh, and throughout this time I was also taking electives and whatnot as well. So then coming up to my freshman year, our program does this thing called Scholars Academy, which is a dual enrollment credit program where high schoolers are able to take classes at RCC or SOU fully paid for, and they're both accredited. RCC is the community college and SAU is the local university, but completely accredited and completely paid for. So as a freshman, they usually wanted you to take the Intro to College class, which was CG 100 in the spring term, but we didn't. We kind of just talked to the advisors and expressed how it was kind of necessary for me to be able to get started on this path a little bit earlier. So I actually ended up taking that class winter term of my freshman year, and then kind of did part-time. I took a random Photoshop class this spring term of my freshman year. At this point, I was still taking high school classes. However, going into my sophomore year, I decided, in conjunction with my parents, but I'm very self-driven, if that makes any sense. And so beginning of my sophomore year, I decided to go full-time at RCC. I considered going to SAU, but it didn't make sense to drive out to where the campus is when RCC is just locally closer, and more of my friends were going, and as a teenager in high school, that was important to me. So I just chose to continue taking classes at RCC, and I went full-time my sophomore year, and then I call it a junior summer because last summer was kind of the time that I did all the junior things. Our school offers our school works in combination with our local Rotary Club to send students to a week on camp, and you have to be a junior. So I went to that for my junior summer, sorry. And then I also got to go to a national competition last summer, so that's kind of what I consider my junior summer. Because this fall I started as a senior at our high school, which basically just means that I took classes full-time at RCC. I've been taking between 17 and 18 credits each term, and so kind of in these last 2 years, my sophomore year and this is my senior year, I've been able to knock out all 90 credits and kind of I will graduate with my associates from RCC the week after I graduate from high school, which is really exciting. One of the main reasons that this program worked so well for me is because I knew I was going to go in-state. I did apply to a few universities outside of Oregon, but it just made more sense for me to stay in-state. We also have one of the best universities for my program, so it didn't make sense to travel. However, I do know that some of my friends who have done this similar program are planning on going out of state and or to different private schools. So that takes a little bit more consideration on which classes you're going to take. Just about every single university out there has a credit, I think it's called a credit retrieval website where you can kind of type in what community college or university that you're planning on transferring credits from, and then you can type in your code. If you took Math 111, I could plug it in and double check that it would transfer it to the university I'm planning on going to. So that's a great resource. Like I said, this really worked well because I am planning on going in-state. I had the liberty of having more options in the classes that I was planning on taking at RCC than if I were going to a different school. There was a moment where I considered applying to BYU, but some of the classes that I had taken wouldn't transfer there, and so that, and among many other reasons, I decided not to transfer there. I do know that some people who, especially if you know where you'd like to go, they will specifically choose which classes to take. If there's options, you have to take a humanities class to get your associates. Well, only 3 of the humanities classes might transfer to your chosen university, so you want to pick one of the ones that will transfer, kind of thing. So that was great. Another thing is that not only did all my credits transfer, but I'm planning on going to OSU, and they have a special thing called the BAC Core, BACC Core, BAC Core, and that is kind of their list of 90-ish credits. I think it's a little bit under, but kind of what you do in your first 2 years of your undergrad before you start taking your more major specific classes. And so I was more focused on taking and working through my BAC Core than my associates. Getting my associates just kind of happened by default because I took a few extra classes that didn't necessarily apply to the BAC Core. And I would definitely recommend checking with your chosen university about what will transfer and what won't, kind of thing. Which also, segue, but depending on which classes you take, for example, I did not take all the 200 level sciences, and I regret that now. I took one of the 100 levels, I took 100 level chemistry, and then I took the 200 level biology. But I do know that once I go to university, I will be having to take more chemistry. I think I have 1 more biology class, and then a bit of physics. So I would definitely recommend trying to narrow down your specific major and see what you can take now. One of the great things about our school's program is that we have the Scholars Academy as well as the Pathways program. And so you can kind of pick and kind of see where your plan is. I always knew I was planning on going to university. That was kind of part of my plan, part of my chosen career path kind of thing. But there is definitely options for people who aren't planning on going to university. Even RCC offers a variety of trade options and certificates. I know that they have a decent nursing program as well. That's pretty good from what I've heard. So I have some friends that are planning on applying to that once they have their associates and a bit more of their schooling figured out. The biggest thing is that you do have to kind of know where you're planning on, what your goal is going to be. I knew that I was going to be STEM, and it didn't quite click with me that I would need to take those science classes. So if you're planning on going STEM and you're not sure exactly what, I would highly recommend taking those classes. If you're planning on going nursing, definitely takes A&P, but also make sure that it transfers. I know that some of the A&P credits, anatomy and physiology credits don't transfer to specific universities from RCC, so definitely double checking that, and just kind of figure out what's right for you. I think education kind of has to be really personalized. I know that my schooling path is not feasible for a lot of people, and if I wasn't who I was, then it wouldn't have worked. but it really took my personality to be able to. I don't want to say it took my personality to achieve what I did, but like you have to want it. That's the biggest thing. Is I have made countless sacrifices in the name of school because I have prioritized that and made that a priority in my life, and other people know that as well. Um, so it's really all comes down to your priorities and what your plans are for the future. Um, there's a lot of options, and I wouldn't push going to university on anyone. If you have the opportunity, though, to take community college classes, I would highly recommend that. If your school only offers AP options, that's fine, I would take that. But if you are going to high school and you're presented with options of AP or community college, AP classes transfer differently than community college classes, if that makes sense, and they also tend to be a lot harder. And I know people say that it's like in the sake of like preparing kids for college, but realistically, taking college classes might be a better preparation. I spent a weekend or like a day up at OSU a few weeks back, and one of the things that they talked about was that, let's say you took AP Chem, they would recommend, like your advisors would recommend you taking chemistry again, or like the 200 level or the 100 level chemistry. But if you took the 200 level general chemistry at the community college, that would transfer and you wouldn't have to take, your advisors might not recommend taking that again. Again, depending on how long it's been since you've taken these classes, might be a good idea to take anyways. But just kind of things to consider when you're mapping out your educational plan. The last piece of kind of like advice that I have to give, and just kind of from my experience, is figure out what you want to do. And I know that can be a lot of pressure on younger people, but the best thing to do is just jump into it. If you are considering that you want to be a surgeon, probably the best thing would be to take an intro to anatomy and physiology, a couple of biology classes, just so that if you do choose that route, you already have the background for it. And if you choose to go art major or you blow up on social media or something, you still have that background too. And I think that can be really important to have, not necessarily options, but just kind of have an idea. My brother's kind of considering following a similar path to what I have, and with the experience that I now have, we will definitely be doing or I've been trying to help him do some things differently, such as like in the order of classes that I took. I did not need to take Photoshop my freshman year. It was just a random class that I chose to take, whereas I could have probably been a little more productive with my time. And so that just kind of what happened with, not foresight. Yeah, foresight, with like being able to look back in time, which is, I mean, there's nothing you can do about it at this point. But that would be my experience going to community college in high school and graduating. Anyways, I just wanted to wrap this up and kind of figured kind of was due to give you guys a background on how I was able to get through my schooling like this. It's kind of nice to do a sit-down video. I'd also am kind of considering posting a video on how to use Logos' systems to your advantage, if that makes any sense. Obviously not like taking advantage of it, but there are a lot of resources that have been given, especially to Logos kids, and I have found a lack of resources of students helping each other out. So if you would like to see a video like that and are a Logos kid or are a younger one who is planning on growing up and wanting to do the Scholars Program, please let me know in a comment below, and I will take that into consideration. So, my sister's here. Come here. She's open. And say bye. Bye. Please like, subscribe, comment if you have any other questions. I would definitely be more than happy to do another video on this kind of topic and kind of exactly what specific classes I took. And I'm planning on doing one on my experience going to community college from a young age too. So, bye!